Hi there friends, and welcome to my beginner's guide and review for Tale of Immortal. I'm Icon, and in this video I'm going to explore the basic gameplay of this sandbox cultivation RPG, give you a couple of tips and tricks for the early game, and hopefully cover up most of the base gameplay to give you an idea whether you want to play it or not, and help you out if you're new here and struggling with what all these different things in the game. So first off, since this is an RPG, we get to create our character. Here, this is the basic stuff we know from lots and lots of other RPGs. You get to select your visuals, some basic traits, some background traits. Here's your stats. Couple of things which are unique to this game. The combat is divided in martial arts and spiritual arts, which roughly translates into magical and physical damage, and damage-wise there's also a distinction between these two types. When you create a character, choose your destiny traits in a way that you're at least good in some combat skills, because these skills here determine whether you can learn higher grade skills or not. But beyond that, go crazy with your RP ideas, have fun with it. It's awesome. Once you have your character, you will be tossed into Cultivation World, forced through a little tutorial here, which I skipped for this video because A, I don't want to spoiler, and B, I don't want to repeat too directly what the tutorial says. So once you've through this little story here, you are tossed into the great wide world. This is a world which is procedurally generated every time anew, and it's that big. So it's all marked up in this grid map, and you can travel in this through this world in a turn-based manner. There's no real-time element involved in this screen here. Your goal is to achieve Cultivation Immortality. The breakthrough menu here shows you we're a measly little chi refiner, and we're seeking our way to transcendence. To do so, we need to acquire experience and loot, loot, loot. So that's the basics of this part of the game. World exploration works like this. You just click somewhere and then you hover with your sword or walk on your feet, depending on your own progression. And there's a lot to discover here. There's townships where you can not only find all the local cultivation scene. All of these are procedurally generated NPCs, which all have a certain bond and tie to people. There's a familial tree here. There's social relationships. You can look up their skill trees, their backstories, what they all did. You can bond with them, go in a partnership and mentor them, whatever. This is all pretty cool, but also in a way a little bit shallow, because yeah, you can talk with all these people, but since everything here is procedurally generated, after a couple of dialogues, most of these things repeat and repeat. The primary value of your relationships with other cultivators is that you will socialize with them and accumulate knowledge, a resource you will need for other things, but more of that later. In townships, you can rest at the inn, recover your health and HP, you can visit the local market and buy and sell your stuff, you can, visit the tavern to find some information and buy drinks to make friends, and also you can check out the local pavilion where you can buy yourself new skills. These skills, by the way, are all procedurally generated as well, so no run has the same shuffle up of skills at the end of the day. There's also a bounty board at every township, which gives you randomly generated quests, which yield spirit stones, that's the cultivation money, mayor's decrees, which is basically another currency for favors, and reputation points. That's pretty simply said how famous you are in Cultivation World. So you're also capable of visiting the workshop, where you can forge artifacts, do alchemy, combine chi shards into chi essences, and all the funny Eastern mythological stuff you might want to have. Elixir brewing, you need to buy the recipe first, and then you can go crazy with that. It's all there, and it's quite vast and deep. And it's quite fun to play that, especially if you are into the whole Wushu genre and all these things, but even if you're new to all that, it all makes sense after a while and it's really fun to play. So besides townships, there's also sects. Sects are basically, well, how to put it, the points where other cultivators like you meet up and grow up into a gang. I always felt like it was a good way of comparing cultivation to mages in Western standards. So what's called sect here would be in Western standards a mages guild. You could really exchange chi and mana with each other and things would still make a lot of sense. So if you're foreign to this whole genre, here goes. This is basically a Eastern mage RPG, if you want to say so. At sects, you can't do anything with these buildings unless you are a member. If you want to check out how everything works out, the council hall gives you a couple of informations about what's happening here, and you need to apply to these sects to be a member there. With this one, we are already a member. To become a member, you need to be good at the skills the sect favors. There's always 3 skills, and then you need to apply for a tournament, smack some other cultivators in the sect, hopefully win, and earn their reputation. But we've talked now a lot about these things. Let's talk about the other part of the game as well, and that's the action part. The sect menu works quite similarly to the city menu. To cover this topic quickly up, you can get missions, you can buy manuals, which include skills, we're going to cover that up too, and you can also buy some cultivational items here. All these things will be introduced after we have talked about the other half of the game, and that's combat. As you see here on the map, there's also this little abode here. This is a mythical bamboo forest, and if we go in here, we see the difficulty levels, the possible loot, what kind of enemies in there, and let's fight a little bit to show you the other part of the game. So the combat part of the game is very action RPG heavy. You have a basic attack on your left mouse button, a special attack on your right mouse button, goes like this, and a movement skill on your space button, goes like this. So the higher difficulties of this game grow a little bit heavier into a bullet hell game, as you see here, these projectiles from the enemies. Up here you see a little bit of a map where you can explore the dungeon. It combines a lot of different elements from games which you might know, and it does quite well so. Here we find a dying cultivator on the ground. We'll leave him on the ground there, because the last time I helped one of these people, he attacked me and murdered me. There's, since everything is procedurally generated in this world, you never know what's really happening, and this is, at times this might be shallow, but at times the random shenanigans this game does are quite awesome at the same time. Down here you see your vitality, energy is used for your special attacks, focus is used when you use items. Items can be equipped onto these buttons, 1, 2, 3, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, of course. And here we have some healing pot and some energy pill. It doesn't invent anything new, but at the same time, this does give you a sense of familiarity. Up here you see how many enemies a room still includes until it's empty, and the red skull is an elite enemy, as you can see, and that's that. After the combat's over, we get a little bit of a summary, what kind of items we looted, how long everything went, which stamina everything costed, how much our skills gained experience. Skills only gain experience when you use them, so for example my movement skill only gained experience because I used it, and that's that. You can find on the map lots of different things, so... Oh, this guy I saw there went now into a fight somewhere else. These fields can spawn everywhere on the map, and as you see down here, there's a time frame, year, month, and day. Every end of a month, new things spawn on the world map. You can also meet mythical monsters on the map, and you can also find new areas like these where other things happen to you. Exploring this world is a vital part of this game. Running around, searching for these way markers here is a part of the game, and also you want to bring yourself cultivation-wise ahead. So we're going to talk about this part now next. How does character progression work in this game? We now know how exploration and all these things work. What's about the character progression? To progress your character, you need to break through your cultivation stages. You see down here is experience. Experience can't be gained by slaughtering monsters mindlessly. You need to search for chi in this world. Down here you see buttons for cultivation, where I can accumulate 17 chi in 5 days. Considering that I need all these, this is 260 chi experience, 1,340, and then 746 again. So considering that, this is not too much. So you will roam around through the world and look for chi dense spots. That's a blue hovering energy bubble. But if you can't find any of those, you can also use geomancy. That's down here, and it's directly influenced by your feng shui skill. With geomancy, you're actively looking for unusual things in the world, and you see you can find new items there, and also whenever you travel through the world, there can be always random happenings where, well, it's under the rainbow, there's a fruit. You either drink the water or pick the fruit. So most of these things seem quite random, but the more you get to know this world, the more you understand what kind of choices you want to take. So once your experience is full, you want to break through. As you see here, we have here a new breakthrough chance, or breakthrough level, where we get to do a terrible, confusing amount of things. How does all this work? So, to reach the next level of foundation, we need first to break through the first stage, the second stage, and then through the last one. You first accumulate 260 XP, and then you need to find a chi refining pill, and then you do the first breakthrough with that. Chi refining pills are sold in pretty much every township. You only need to smack some monsters and some monster layers, sell some items, and you're good to go. The second breakthrough works the same, you just need the tier 2 chi refining pill. But the big breakthrough from chi refining to foundation is a bigger thing, where things start to grow complicated. As you see here, to go into foundation, we have 3 methods: the mortal foundation, the earth foundation, and the heaven foundation. And this is mainly determining how much grind are you willing to invest. The mortal foundation requires you to gather a foundation elixir. It's coming in grade 6 to 1. The higher the grade, the better the quality. So, or, well, the lower the grade, I should rather say. Grade 1 is the best, grade 6 is the worst. These are sold by every sect, at least the grade 6 ones. And you need 1 heaven and earth treasure. These are loot from big mythical monsters. All these things are explained where to find. For example, here you see can be obtained by slaying Dang Kang in the land of spirits of Shandi Shi sect southeast of the Yongning area. So you get precise markers where these beasts are to be found. Also, the other option is you need to slay a monster in the so-called Land of the Spirits. The Land of the Spirits is like a dungeon where you toss in a couple of spirit stones and get a fight with a mythical monster every 6 months. Whatever you choose, you need to hunt down these monsters to break through the next level of cultivation, and that's your first bigger goal thing you need to understand. Whenever this game sends you on tons of these hunting quests, so it's up to you to learn to properly read these informations, because whatever you need, there's always a direction where to find it. For example, with these items. And once you have the foundation elixir and one of these treasures, you can go for the foundation breakthrough, which will increase your stats by a small amount. You can also go for the earth breakthrough, where you need 2 of these treasures, and water chi. Chi can be accumulated by killing certain enemies in certain areas until you can compress the chi shards into a chi orb, and yeah, you get the idea. You can also go for the Heaven Breakthrough, where you need 6 of these Chi Essences and 3 of these treasures. So it's basically up to you how much grind you're willing to take. And every single one of these breakthrough stages works quite similar. Once you are on Foundation, you need to go for the Foundation Pill for the first breakthrough, the Tier 2 Foundation Pill for the second breakthrough, and then you need to go for the next breakthrough, the Chi Condensation, where you need another Condensation Elixir, another monster, 4 monster parts, and so on and so forth. That's the basic gameplay loop of this game. You search for items to get stronger, but that's not all. That's certainly not all. Hunting these mythical monsters brings you loot of different, brings you skill books, which allow you to increase your stats. And also, speaking about skill books, you can also buy skill books from these sects. For example, my sect here is selling blade fruits, which increase my blade skill. They're selling spear fruits and palm fruits, which increase these skills. So basically, you can grind up everything if you find the according item in this game. Also, in townships, let's teleport to Quanta Town. Or, well, no. Let's take another town. Shishia City. Why not? And in townships, in the markets, you will always find down there skill books. For example, here you find Feng Shui skill books. Learn Wincy to expand your area of the geomancy covers. These are extremely valuable. Every township sells a couple of those. Also in townships you will find Chi refining pills. In a city you will find the foundation as pills. But you see, you will always find some pointers where to find these items, so don't you worry. When it's about selling stuff, there's not too much to worry about because everything is grindable. There's also items which increase mood. Mood is consumed when you learn new skills. These are basically my favorite way of earning money in the early game. Also, if you're short in spirit stones, don't hesitate to visit the bounty board. Not only do you need the spirit stones, but the mayor's decree points are also necessary to buy the better skills, and the better skills are also only sold to people with a according reputation. Okay, now we've talked about all these things. Let's go into the last topic I've missed out so far, and that's skill and skill development. So first off, I want to talk about the specialization skills. These are like your job skills. Alchemy for making consumables, Feng Shui for geomancy, herbs for gathering items for your alchemy, forging for creating artifacts, and ores for creating artifacts ultimately. So these are all not influencing your combat at all. Nope. What's influencing your combat is this stuff, and these items or these skills are all accumulated in this menu. So you can use one martial skill or spiritual skill if you're a magic user in this left mouse button slot. You have one special skill on the right mouse button slot, and you have one motion skill. You have mind skills, but I'll take these as the last thing. And you have one slot for your ultimate skill, which unlocks once your cultivation is high enough. Mind skills are like passive bonuses. You see you have a wheel of slots there, and you have skill points. Every mind skill is worth a certain amount of skill points, and you see I can right now only equip mind skills in the value of 13 skill points. To increase your maximum skill points, you need to accumulate knowledge. Knowledge, like I mentioned before, is accumulated by chit-chatting with other cultivators, so good relations to other cultivators are important, because these passive bonuses sure are important after all. So, skills. How to learn skills and all this. So first you check out what kind of skill you want. Here, always the type, the necessary rank, and the necessary requirements, and the prices go without saying. It's very important to know, though, that a foundation level skill will always be stronger than chi refining skills. Period. Also, you see these little icons in the lower left button, and below the icon of the screen here, that little spear icon tells you what kind of skill it's bonded to. Inside there, we now see how these skills work. We just click into one. Here we see what it does and how the cultivation stages go. This is basically what the skill accumulates when you level it up even more. Here's the preview button, and I can only recommend it. Just click there, you go into a combat screen, and here you can try out how the skill works under real circumstances. For skills with high cooldowns, you can just press the reset button. And this is really valuable because sometimes I feel like these descriptions are not really too descriptive. Checking this out on this menu is way more descriptive for me. Okay, once you have made up your mind which kind of skill book you want to have, you buy them and you learn them. Mind skills, like I mentioned here, have a skill point cost, and they need to be equipped on that mind slot. I think that goes pretty much without saying. So let's learn something new and something completely unnecessary, but who cares? So let's learn Ceremony's Peak Boomerang Finger. So you buy that skill book, and then you get over into your skill menu, go here into the item menu, select the book, and then you need to press that learn skill, but my finger skill is not high enough. Whoops. Well, okay, let's check. Let's see if we can find something else. There's a very easy mini game linked to that, so let's take this one. Oh, I got not enough mayor's degree. Well, it's not that important. You just need to click blue orbs and left-click blue orbs and right-click red orbs. It's a little mini game involved. It's nothing too special, but I know Asian games love their mini games. And yeah, that's your first steps in the cultivation world. There's of course a main story to follow. For example, here we need to find 3-legged crows and bring them to justice. And there will be always a next goal for cultivation and a next goal in the story, which most of the time needs you to advance in cultivation before you can nail it down. The fun of this game lies in this huge world which you can influence just like you want to. Every one of these sects can be taken over by you. You can be the elder of these sects. You can ruthlessly murder everybody. You can be friends with everybody. You can pretty much do whatever you want. It's a sandbox RPG for a reason. So I really do like what this game does, and there's a lot to discover. The early game is a little bit confusing, but once you understood how the basic cultivation mechanisms work, and that the game supposes you to gather these rare items, hunt rare monsters to gather rare materials at the same time and grow stronger to beat them, it turns out to be very, very, very fun once you wrap your head around it. So to get stronger, in a nutshell, let's repeat that, you need to beat down these breakthrough stages, and you need to accumulate the treasures necessary for your breakthrough. In between, to grow stronger, you can always learn new skills, grind up your stats, and do a lot of little quests in between. There are lots and lots of different items, and it's very worth reading the tooltips there, because there's really a lot of things to discover. It's impossible for me to wrap that all up in one little video here. But overall, I'm enjoying myself a lot with this game. The English translation is pretty new. The game is not. The Chinese version of this game hangs around for a pretty long time and scored around 90,000 positive, or well, 90,000 ratings with a very positive average rating on Steam, which is pretty much, not gonna lie. So yeah, this video just barely scraped the surface of the game, I know that, but I think this is the point where I can leave you up to the decision whether to like it or not. And I also answered the questions how to reach foundation and get past the first bottleneck of cultivation. We're not going to do more in this video, and if you have further questions, just ask away in the comment section. Leave a thumbs up on that video if you enjoyed it to make it more visible for other cultivators or those who still want to be. And of course, check out my channel. I do daily videos. I'd be super happy about any new subscriber. Just turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of my daily content. And of course, in the description box down below, you'll also find links to my Twitch channel where I do regular streams, and my Discord channel where you find a very, very friendly gamer community alongside with my humble persona. And last but not least, ways and means to support this video channel project more directly if you want to. I can use every helping hand because my content will always be free, and I'd be super happy for everybody joining the crowd. Anywho, thank you so much for spending your time with this video and still listening to me. You're awesome for that, and have a nice day. Goodbye.